Okay, okay, Lag Ba'omer Tafshin Pei Base. It's almost like Ba'omer. And we are going to mention something about Shimba Yochai very little because the Parasha is already overwhelming. And there's a tremendous yesod in this Parasha that affects, that's actually current. We can still take care of it because we're still in the Shemitah. And that has an effect on the Parnasa for the next 6 years. Are you going to tell me on Rosh Hashanah we take care of the Parnasa? We'll answer this during this year. We're going to be bombarded by one word at the beginning of this Parasha. When I'm saying bombarded, is beyond bombarded. I would like to show you the different psukim. Where is it? I didn't put much today, but it's just the psukim taken. The Parasha starts, Daber b'nei Yisrael v'amato aleihem, say to the b'nei Yisrael, ki savu el haaretz, when you come to Et Yisrael, Ashani noisen lachem, that I'm giving to you, v'shavsa haaretz, Shabbos lashem. Looks inside these words, v'shavsa, that are colored red. Shabbos. Shesh shanim tizra sadecha, so the 6 years that you're going to work. V'shesh shanim to tizmor kamecha, okay, that you're going to work. Ubashana hashevis. Shabbos is the 7th. Shabbos. Shabboson is Yom Kippur. We don't call a regular Shabbos. You want to tell me that now the Shemitah has a level of Yom Kippur? You call it the same way. Oh, Shabboson it will be a Shabbos of Shabbos, mean higher than Shabbos, a regular Shabbos, to earth. Shabbos Lashem. It's a Shabbos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You know when the only time we have seen these two words together? These two words, we have seen them only at the beginning in Shabbos Bereshis. That's all. Shabbos Lashem is only in is only on Shabbos Bereshis. All right, so what's the connection here between Shabbos Lashem? It's very unusual. If you mention that language here, and it's only mentioned in Shabbos Bereshis, means there's a connection between the Shemitah and Shabbos Bereshis. And it kind of keep on repeating itself again, Sadecha, again, Eretz, Lo Sizra, Kamecha, Lo Sizmer, Kamecha, Sadecha. It's a bunch of repetition. Sefiach Ketzirecha, Ineve Nezirecha, it's Kamecha, it's in other words, the same thing. Again, Shna Shabboson Yeh La'aretz. Eloisa say we understand. By why piling them up? To the point we have 7 mitzvahs aseh, and we have 17 mitzvahs lo aseh here in this parsha. Oh, 7? I said 7 again? 7 mitzvahs aseh. What is 17? 17 is 10 plus 7. 7 Chodesh Tishri, 10 Yom Kippur. Let's see the other series. That's the Shemitah. Let's see about the Yovel. Vesafata lecha, you should count Sheva Shabbos Shanim. Here we go with the 7. Sheva Shanim, in case you don't know how to calculate, you didn't do second grade, we'll show you how to calculate 49. It's 7 Shemitahs, 7 years, 7 times. Now you're going to get value lecha, and now the 7 that you multiplied will equal to 49. This whole pasuk, I could have taken it off. Ve'avata, I mean, there's no point telling us to calculate 49. Just tell me that the Yovel is the 50th year. We know how to do it. The 7th, we are bombarded with it. Ve'avata shofar terua. Oh, when do you have to blow the shofar? There was a special shofar for the Yovel. That shofar was used out of the Yovel only once. And we will see it later. So when do we blow the shofar? B'chodesh HaShevi, the 7th month. Be'asar l'chodesh and Yom Kippur. What did I tell you? I tell you before, 17 Tov is what? 7 plus 10. The 7th month is Tishrei. Be'asar l'chodesh, on the 10th of it is Yom Kippur. That's 17. So I'm having basically the number of mitzvahs matching basically the Yovel and also, sorry, the Shemitah and the Yovel. It's becoming cumbersome here. You know, I don't want to tell you how I felt when this year I decided to go into it. It's usually a subject that I avoid. I decided it came time to clear it up and understand. Look at this. Yovel he, Yovel he, Yovel he. Within a few lines. What's the great thing about the Yovel? Oh, 2 things only. Veshaftem ish el achuzasoi. Each one will return to his possession, to his assets that he sold because he needed money. He lost his money, and and the ish al mishpachto itashuvu, and they return to their families. The Eved goes out, and now he returns to his family. That's all you can find me about the greatness of the Yovel, the greatness of the Shemitah. These 2 people, nothing else. The Ramban HaKadosh says it's a miracle. I'm going to go slow. I'm going to try to give it almost as a story, because I heard that people like it when I say it as a story rather than saying it, and going into it. The Ramban says, here are the greater secrets of the Torah. Here lie the days of the world. And also the side of the mitzvah that is punishable by Golus. It's only Eloi Sase. If you don't keep the Shemitah, you're not doing something crazy. It's not like Chaz Hashem being Mechal Shabbos. It's not a chorus. It's only Eloi Sase. By steal, they will be punished, as every Galus came because of the Shemitahs, as we're going to understand, and we're going to see how the words of the pasuk that seems cumbersome and strange are so precise and exact about what's going on here. All right, we're talking about the world. We're talking about the years of the world, how long the world will be. And the Ramban closed up totally about this. He says, see what I wrote about in Parshas Mishpatim. So you open Parshas Mishpatim, it says, first mitzvah is Eved Ivri, mentioned in Mishpatim, Keneged Anoichi Hashem Elokecha in the deep voice. But the secret is the side of the days of the world. Right. Nothing more, nothing less. So the Minchas Chinuch here in the mitzvah, so usually when you want to open up a little bit in the Rishonim, You look in the mitzvah because they have to open up a little bit. So by explaining the mitzvah in mitzvah Shin Lamed, he says there's a tremendous chokhmah in this mitzvah. And Chazal didn't want to give it to everyone. Didn't want to reveal it. And it was not, it was not revealed. However, he's pointing out that starting with the week, 6 days we work, the 7th we rest. The Yamim Tovim, the 7 days. And he says, I don't want to mention them all. When Yitzchak gave to Avimelech, made an alliance with him so they wouldn't attack him ever, he gave him 7 ships. And he says the word Shavua also comes from Shiva, from 7. What's with this 7? I mean, it doesn't disclose anything really. It's just telling me that this 7 is a lot further, a lot deeper than what we thought earlier, with the Ramban. There's nothing he reveals. It's a big chokhmah. The other aspect we have to understand is this jump in the pasuk from Shabbos to Shvis. That Bashana Shvis, Shabbos Lashem. One second. It's Shabbos to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but it's not Shabbos to us. Okay, it's true that on Shabbos we cannot do any melacha. None. Why don't we do a melacha? I promised myself I'm not going to go there, but unfortunately, come through my mouth and I'm saying it. Because on Shabbos, let me show it to you so you understand. And if you can understand this, you're going to elevate your world and your Shabbos to a point that I pointed it last week. Work, Sunday, Chesed. Monday, Gvura. Tuesday, Tiferes. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Yesod, Shabbos, Malchus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to explain it through the Ramchal, which is just philosophical explanation, so people can understand it. The thoughts, the action. The thoughts are the first one. Keser, Chochma, Bina. The action, which is management of the world, is Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus. That's what it is. Your 6 days are here. The Malchus is not fixed. There are only 2 that are not fixed. The Yesod, the Friday, and the Malchus, the Shabbos. The one that moves the most is the Malchus because every 7 days it goes up. Where does it go to? To its mother. From here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, another 7. Interesting. This is the daughter of 7, Bas Sheva. It goes up to here. Here, it's only the thought. There's no action. Therefore, in Shabbos, if someone does a melacha, he forces the Malchus down into this realm here. And this is a tremendous assault to Kveit Shamayim and to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a tremendous Chilul Hashem to draw back the Malchus into the world of the weekdays. So the Malchus goes here. As we daven Musaf, so it goes right here. So mother and daughters are together. The same way it's Olam Acherus, it's freedom in the Bina, the same way in the Malchus on Shabbos, it's freedom. Freedom from work, freedom from everything. So we cannot do any melacha. During the Shemitah, the Malchus goes up. But in a different way, because the melacha is not forbidden on the seventh year. So, but some melachas are forbidden, like working the fields is totally forbidden. Anything related to earth is forbidden. I'm going to explain that concept, that similarity to Shabbos, because it's going up to the Bina, and why driving a car is mutar. Boiling water is mutar. Bishul is mutar. Boirer is mutar. Why on Shabbos, when it comes up here, I said before, it is in the world of the thoughts. I'll come up to this, Glineder, a little bit later, because I don't want to complicate too much everything. So now, just to resume, we've been bombarded by the seventh, and we know now that on the seventh day, it goes up to the seventh midah, so the Malchus is called Basheva, and at that point, any melacha is asur, but in a different way, during the Shvis, the seventh year, which is also type of a Shabbos, but not a Shabbos for us, a Shabbos for Hashem. It's tremendous to call it a Shabbos for Hashem. It just sounds a lot higher than our Shabbos. And the proof we said, because it's named also Shabbos Shabbosain. So the Rabbi Yitzchak de Min Akoi, who was a Talmid of the Ramban, he comes here and blows off every wall. What? Did he want to tell you? I'm going to tell you. Really? Yeah. Rabbi Yitzchak de Min Akoi was a Rishon, and he's explaining that Davar Tziva le'elef doyer. David HaMelech says, Kodesh Baruch Hu Tziva means ordered the world for 1,000 generations. On the other hand, we know that one day of Kadosh Baruch Hu, ki elef shani be'einecha ki yom esmoel. One day of us is 1,000 years for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So you're familiar with that part. This world will be 6,000 years, and on the 7,000 years, it'll be empty from animals and humans. There's gonna be nothing in the world. 1,000 years. Now, in our world, the Pasuk went to an extension of repeating itself and telling us how to calculate 49. And we asked, for what purpose? Says Rabbi Yitzchak de Min Akoi. Actually, it's more clear in the Tana de Eliyahu Rabbah. He says it a lot clear, that the same way there are 7 times 7 and on the 50th is the Yovel, the same way the world will go through 7 times 6,000 years of life, and on the 7th it will be destroyed until we arrive till the Yovel HaGadol, to the big Yovel, which at this point HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised 1,000 generations. It means 1,000 times 50, 50,000 years the world will live, then it will return to Tohu Vavohu, and we finish the Parasha of our existence on this earth. I can show it to you on the words. We said this whole pasuk was extra. We know how to calculate 49. The Ramban told us these are the soidos of the days of the world. Rabbi Yitzchak de Minakoi, Tano de Vilio Rabba, Pirke de Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, and we'll see what he says. He's adding one note here. When we talk here, Sheva Pe'amim, so it's going to be 7 times Shabbos, 7 times Shemitah, 7,000 years, 7 times. That's why it added here 7 times. So we're going to live through this process 7 times. So I'm sure you're very deceived right now. You thought that we're going to be here forever after that when Mashiach comes. So I would retort to this. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is on the other side for already over 2,000 years. Can't be that bad for the Tanaim, the Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, this Tzaddik Elyonim. How many shepherds were there? 7. The 7 shepherds of Am Yisrael are all on the other side. Can be bad. Has to be extremely good. The only thing is we have no knowledge to appreciate what it is. We can only have the emunah. So says the Pirkei de Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol here. It's tremendous. Every time I mention his name, I shiver. The Torah he had from Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. You know, we having Hillel HaZaken, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol, who never, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai never said something he never heard from Hillel HaZaken. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol never said something he never heard from Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. In other words, what we are saying right now is Hillel HaZaken that said it. This is how far we go. Beginning of the Tanaim. That, you see the Sefer Torah, how it's rolled on 2 Atzechaim? That's the way the world is. Every 7 years, we rolled one area and it's another one. In other words, the earth, we are in the first cycle right now. The earth as we know it, with the skies as we know them, and its physical laws and everything will not be the same in the second cycle, and not the same in the third cycle. Each cycle will reach an improvement. Now, let me show you this again. So, the Megale Amukos, Rabbi Tzadok Milublin, they all explain the cycles refer to the midas that we have here. This goes at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When we reach the Chesed, the world goes Toihu Vavoihu. We only live as we live because we have completed all the tachlis of this world. That's the completion. Therefore, Chazal say running after materialistic things, are not the most important, because there is 50,000 and there's going to be cycles in the world, and there's going to be things, and the physical laws and the other laws that we have are not eternal. The human is not eternal. The animals that we see right now are not going to be the same animals that are going to be in the same cycle, in the second cycle, and so forth. So each one has to take care of his cycle, do it so we can, Now, is the nefesh? I don't want to go into it in public, especially that it's a video on this. I don't want to give into publicity into this inyanim. But it's very, very precise how it comes out from the word of the pasuk and so forth. Now, I want to invert a little bit because I can feel I got your attention on this amazing news. So I want to dive in a lot deeper into the number 7. Midrash says in Vayikra, not in Bereshis, Mamash in our Parasha, on B'chodesh HaShevi, Kadosh Baruch Hu has a discussion with Avram Avinu. We just mentioned Rabbi Yochanan. Has Rabbi Yochanan saying? Says, Vayoyme bi nishbatinu Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore a shavua, a shiva, on the 7th month. Why? Because Avram Avinu told HaKadosh Baruch Hu like this: when you asked me to take my only son and to bring it as a oila, to bring him as a oila on the Mizbeach, I could have argued with you. I had thoughts. My heart was pumping. I wanted to answer you because you told me, through Yitzchak, you will have a descendants. So how can you renege your word? But I did not. I held myself. It was extremely hard, Avram Avinu says to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but I heard you. And I did what you asked me. Please, he says, I beg you, when my children are going to come to daven, even though they're going to be darkened with sins and everything, don't punish them. Remember the Akedah. On which month? The 7th month. Oh, what about on the 6th month? No, you cannot. On the 7th month. The Zohar HaKadosh says that here there is a side shvi'iyos of the 7s. Wow. Why? Of the Shechina, which is Basheva. I'm circling around right now. I'm closing the loop. I don't want to go give you too much, otherwise we all gonna lose. So, and what is the side? The Zohar HaKadosh says in Parashat Emoyer, when the Kohen was taking the blood, the Kohen Gadol was coming lifnei velifnim inside in the Kodesh HaKodashim, and he was going to spray the blood on the paroiches before entering the Kodesh HaKodashim. He would go achas, and he would say achas ve'achas, 1 and 1. Then 1 and 2. The Mishnah in Yuma. What would he say such a language? You can't count till 7 without making a mistake. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, achas u'shtayim. Achas ve'shalosh, achas ve'arba, and we say it during Musaf of Yom Kippur. Well, what's such a need? And what we have to say it also? Yes, says the Zohar. You know why? Because there are 2 there. There's Basheva and the mother. When he says Achas, it's the Bina. When he says Achas ve'achas is the Bina and the Malchus together, because then he does an action here in order to strengthen the Malchus with the 7 drops, with the Shechina Akdosha, with the 7 drops of blood, to bring more Kedusha. So there's the Bina at the same time, since he does an action here, the Kohen Gadol, the Bina, which is Kodesh HaKodashim in Shemayim, is also impregnating the Malchus with tremendous powers of Kedusha. So much so, really? And the Bina, wow. What's the reason of all this? Zohar says, in Parshas Pikudei, the Yetzer Hara has 7 names. Now, I'll stop with questions. You will start seeing the light in big time, very big. It's not the usual question, answers a little bit here and a little bit there. Here, it's a massive answer. Zohar HaKadosh says, his name, Satan, Tamei, Soine, Even Michshoil, Arel, Ra, Tsefoini. Why 7 names? Because when the Nachash did the scene, the original scene, he brought 7 koiches atuma in the world. And Kenegede, that's what the Satan is using in order to trample people. And then he goes up and is mekatreg on him in order to have the din and punish the person. That's what he does every day, every minute, everything. And Kenegedze said the Zohar Tikunim, there are 7 layers in the Gehinnom. And the Satan, even when he has someone in the first layer started sinning, is not happy. He wants that person to arrive to the 7. He wants to drag him down all the way. And he won't let go until he does. That's the reason that before it says in Parshas, we're in Bamidbar. So when we came out of Mitzrayim, we went through Bamidbar, Ba'arava, Molsuf, Ben Parnu, Ben Teufel, Velavan Vachatzeres, Vedizahav. 7 Masais. Why? Because when Bnei Israel were in Mitzrayim, they got soaked with the tumor of Mitzrayim. And in order to even start cleaning up so they're not being drawn back, you had to go through 7. So basically, what is 7? 7 is the ring where the Kedusha and the tumor will fight. I will prove it with the one, anyone ready is, where is Tal? Everything in this Parasha are of equal strength. 7 on the right, 7 on the left, and you're in the middle. And you're the one deciding where you want to go. Let's go a little bit before, I go. I'm going to give you a few gematrias because I think they are tremendous in terms of explaining the subject, but they're going to crystallize it. So I want to go a little bit further. We have Yaakov Avinu when Esav comes to kill him in Parshas Vayishlach. Everybody asks, why did he have to prostrate himself to his brother 7 times? Oh, couldn't do it once. Talmid Chacham that he should have not done it. Yes, with every time he went down, one koyach of tumah was taken down. 7 times against 7, we'll see. The Gemara says a very similar story happened with Rebacha bar Yaakov. But remember what the Gemara wrote it. I don't want to, it's a very interesting story with the Gemara here. Rebacha bar Yaakov, it has to be pretty clear. Has to be on this page. There it is, in Kiddushin Chavtes Amud Beis. There was a mazik. The Gemara brings down that Rabbi bar Yaakov was graced by a snake with 7 heads. And what did he do? Right away threw himself on the ground, and every time he would prostrate himself to the snake, 1 head would go off. After 7th, Ishtachavaya, all the 7 heads were, and that's how the Megala Amukus explains the pasuk. Ki sheva yipoil tzadik vakam. 7 times a tzaddik will fall in order to make the tumah fall. Not that he's going with the way we explain usually that a person would fall, but still the tzaddik will raise himself up. Yes, that's also an explanation of the pasuk. But he explained that when a tzaddik is in a danger or whatever, he should fall down and then get up, because every time he does this, if you do it 7 times, then the tumah is totally annihilated. The Talmud of the Baal Shem says, purposely, HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent that dream to Paroi of 7 cows, 7 shibolim, 7 good years, 7 bad years. Because the Shnoi Sarav, the 7 bad years were intended to lower the klipa of Mitzrayim. They were doing terrible things there. They were doing magic and sorcery and all kind of things and they were elevating the level of tumah on the land in order, see, people don't have what to eat, they're not going to start doing these stupid things. So that was the reason. And since anyway Bnei Israel have taken so much of it, that's why they had to count 7 weeks after that in order to clean up. The Maharal also goes on it, but I think I'm not going to say any other story. 2 more 7s, why not? When Yeshua went to conquer Eretz Yisrael, 1 city stood in front of him. He could not conquer. It's Yericho. Why Yericho? Because Ramak says, Moshe Cordovero, the Rav of the Ari HaKadosh, the Chusa Yagan Aleinu, says he had 7 walls around the city. He could not conquer it. Why 7 walls? Keneged, the 7 layers of Tumah, so it was the nest of the Tumah in Eretz Canaan, and there's no way he could take it. What does he say in the pasuk? So he told his soldiers, Yeshua, go around for 6 days, once a day. And he told 7 kohanim to go around 7 times, to blow 7 shofar, to on the 7th day, it's Shabbos. On Shabbos, it had to be all 7. Forgot how many 7 there are, but there's a host of 7 he used there. And then after the 7th hakafa, the walls crawl down and he was able to conquer Jericho. What did he do? Yeah, the other 7. This is the only time he told them to use which shofar? The shofar of the Yovel. The only one that we were blowing for the Yovel. Those chatzot, those shofar, that's the one they used for Jericho. What did they do? They connected their actions to the Yovel. At that point, they raised the Malchus, the Shechina, so high that the powers were coming from the Bina. And against this, there's no tumor. Above the Chesed, above the actions, the tumor can only fight when there's an action. When there's above action, the first 3, which are thoughts, tumor that cannot approach, it would burn. And as soon as they start shining, it runs away. The reason the world fell, because the tumor was not holding it anymore. They run away because they saw it comes from the Bina, and that's why they run away. If you look at Shimshon, when Dalila drove him crazy, say, how can I control your strength? He said, take 7 cords, wet cords, and tie up my hands. Because only with 7 you can. The only way the tumor can against the Kedusha, it's only when it's at the number 7. So like this, all the action part of the spheres of the Kedusha is taken on the stronghold if Chaz Shalom, the person with his action strengthen the tumor. That's why the Gemara says all the time, a person should see himself as the world is 50-50. And your action will decide. Because on every action, for every action of a Ben Israel, there is a war between the Tumah and the Kedusha. There's always a war. So every action, it's a different world. Every action, there is a war. And you have the 7 against the 7. You will decide. You are the referee. You will decide who's the winner by deciding how to conduct yourself and the way to act. You will be the one. Now, I do want to bring a couple of points out of all this. Okay, we see there is a Kedusha on the Shvis. Which Kedusha? The Gemara says in Sanhedrin that Chazal would teach the secrets of the name Yudke Vavke to the Talmidim only during the Shvis. Right, the Shvis? I understand he has Kedusha toward the land. Oh, if you look in the Ramak, in Pardes Rimonim, you'll see that Eretz isn't one of the names for the Shechina. Has so many names, the Shechina, that we lost with them, right? I told you quite a few already. Let me show you something, you'll never forget it. You see, these 10, each one is composed by 10. So let's pretend these are the 10s of the Malchus. These are the 10 spheres of the Malchus, okay? So I repeat, all these spheres have inside them exactly the same 10. So you have Keser, let's say, you have Chochmah of Keser, Bina of Keser, Gvura of Keser, Chesed of Keser, and so forth, each one. So let's call this the Malchus. During the Shemitah, which one goes up? This one only. The Malchus of Malchus. On Shabbos, they all go up. So there's no more work. The one that's called Eretz is the lowest one, the one you step on. Ve'ha'aretz hadoim raglai. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says the earth is a rest for my feet. Which earth? This one. The Malchus of Malchus is the one. Malchus is poor. Malchus of Malchus is the poorest. This one goes up. Now, do you understand why at this point, the only two mitzvahs, the only two things we have said is Veshaftem ish el achuzasoi ve'ish el mishpachto itashuvu. We only talk about the ani and only the eved, the lowest, which the Ramban, let's go back and answer everything now. The Ramban said in Pashas Mishpatim that the mitzvah of the eved is keneged anoichi Hashem Elokecha. Why? Because the eved is parted from the mitzvahs as long as he's an eved. He has to be an eved Hashem. He is the lowest of the lowest. There's no lower than being an eved. Ani, he has everything, but he will return to his family. The poor that had to sell his properties because he had a downturn in life is the other one mentioned in the passage. Why? Because only that part of the sphere of Malchus is going up to the main Bina, all the way up to the, let's call it the grandmother, all the way up there. And there he received. So that part that's called earth is also to work during the Shemitah. You won't find one mefarish, I should have written the pasuk, that doesn't ask, Ma inyan Shemitah etzer Har Sinai. Why does he say in this pasuk, Daber b'nei Yisrael, Behar Sinai Leimor? What's the pasuk here? Let me look at it again. By Daber Hashem el Moshe, Behar Sinai Leimor. All the mitzvahs were said in Har Sinai. Right? So why particularly on this one, you're pointing out the mitzvah of Shemitah, you're pointing out is Behar Sinai. I gave to this question many answers, but on the part we are saying, Behar Sinai equals 337. The mitzvah of the Eved is Im begapo yavoi begapo yetze. If he comes alone, he goes out alone, which has a lot of dinim that comes out from there. Meaning that he's not allowed, because he came in alone, you're not allowed to give him a shifcha, Canaanis, he's not allowed to. Anyway, equals 337. Behar Sinai, the Parasha starts by telling you, by pointing out the same way after Yisro, after the Aseret Adibros, the first mitzvah is the Eved. The first mitzvah here is the Eved. The second one is the Ani. The Zohar HaKadosh jumps on that. On the Sheish Shanim, it says, you do not know the nachas done to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When it's going to be extremely hard. Yes, I mean, he used to serve me. He knows my house. He knows my field. He was a great manager. I can't let him go. You will have any sign. It's going to be very hard. It's Shabbos to who? Lashem. To HaKadosh Baruch Hu you do it. This is not for anything else. Not for the Eved, not for anyone. Shabbos Lashem. I'm going to show you from these very few words what come out. If I take back the word, just to prove my point, Behar. Equals 207 equals oil. Oh, there's light. Now we're talking about light. Which light? Behar Sinai. When you do this for the Eved, you look at I can read you the word of the Zohar, open it up. I don't want to see the time is already 1:30 equals, put it in English, 5 times the 5 chasadim. All the chasadim are coming down to that person. You're doing such a thing. This is how you get the blessings on the 6 years, by helping the poor during the Shemitah. Says Tzadok Milublin Zechus Yagan Aleinu that the Shabbos of the Shemitah is a lot higher than the Shabbos of the whole year. The same way the Shabbos of the whole year is providing for the 6 days of the year, the Shabbos of the Shemitah is providing for the 6 years of the Shvis. I mean of the Shemitah. Now, if you take the word, Shemitah, (364) equals 4 times the yichud of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Shechina. By keeping the Shemitah, by keeping the mitzvahs of the Shemitah, and there's, if you think this is deep, this is nothing. This is the first layer of the onion. If you see what there is in this psukim in these words, but it's not for here. So what do I have to do on Shemitah? It's, we say is Shabbos. You can just copy it. Is Shabbos Lashem equals, if I recall well, 758, I didn't write it, equals that's the work during the Shvis. More Torah, more mitzvah. The Shechina is up there. We need to do more during the Shemitah so it can engrange a lot more oil from the Bina in order to, after that, to ray on all Bnei Yisrael, and especially for the one who generated that light. That's the Shabbos Lashem. We don't work earth, but we have, look in the main sparring, that the Shemitah is the time. And if someone, Chas v'Shalom, does not listen, and he does it, he attracts the din. I don't want to go more on deeper into this. He attracts the dinim. Here are the Mazal Kadisha. We have the 13th Mazal, how you access it. Here we have the Eish. How is the Yetzer Hara that 7 had their work? How he burns the person through his fire in order to entice him and to move him toward the direction. The psukim are coming one after another with a mind-boggling, all repetition. You want to know what Yovel He is? Yovel He is Soid. That the Ramban said. That's what the pasuk says. The Torah is stressing you. Look into it. There's a secret. Look into it. There's a secret. There's a secret of the knowledge, of understanding what we are doing, why we're stopping to work, because at that point we're engranging the blessing for not only the 6 years, but we're getting also for the next Shemitah, when it's going to come, our 6th year is going to produce enough for us to have Parnasa. That's the side of the 7th, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loved the 7th. It's the ring between the Nachash and the Mashiach. They're fighting it. As long as Mashiach comes, min Chalila, the Nachash is winning. Now, where is Behar Sinai? I said I'll talk about Reb Shimon Bar Yochai just a second. If you take Behar Sinai, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai is hinted here. Hoid shebehoid, which is tonight. The Midah of Shimon Bar Yochai of Hoid shebehoid. And I promised to read you what someone sent me. Where is it? What Eliyahu Hanavi said to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Bedahu Sefer HaZoyar Ifkun Be Migalusa Berachamei. With the Sefer of the Zohar, the Bnei Yisrael will be freed from the Galus with Rachamim. He says, Behai Sefer HaZohar is Parkun min Galusa Karisgalia Bedara Basra. With this Sefer of the Zohar, the Bnei Yisrael will go out of the Galus when they'll go in the last Galus, meaning the Galus of Edom. Moshe Rabbeinu, the Raya Mehemna, who talks to the Botzina Kadisha. You know why we light Neres on Lag BaOmer? Because in the Zohar, his name, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai, so Roy Ne'eman is Moshe Rabbeinu. Botzina Kadisha, the saint Ner, light, is Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. He says, those who are going to learn the Zohar this time, they are maskilim. This is Moshe Rabbeinu. There's a lot of part in the Zohar that's called the Raya Mehemna. He used to learn with Reb Shimon Bar Yochai and Moshe Rabbeinu. They are maskilim yazhiru ke Zohar harkia. And those who learn the Zohar will shine then. We know there's going to be a different level of tzaddikim when we're going to return. Some will be able to fly. Some will have, in the second saga, some will have wings like malachim. And some will shine from the oir of the 370 oiris, the oir aganus, those who have learned the Zohar. He tells him, Moshe Rabbeinu, Behai chibura dilach, with your book, the Ihu Sefer HaZohar, that is a Sefer HaZohar, Be'elei lo yitzarich nisayin. With this, the one who learned the Sefer HaZohar in Ikvasa Demshicha will not suffer from Ikvasa Demshicha from the mouth of Moshe Rabbeinu. What I didn't tell you from the Megala Amukos is Moshe Rabbeinu was created le'elef doyer. Himself is in every generation. And he keeps on going. Ubegin de Israel asidin lemit'am meilana dechaye. Since Bnei Yisrael, at the end of time, when Mashiach will come, we will test from the tree of life, whose Sefer HaZohar. What is the tree of life, says Moshe Rabbeinu? It is the Sefer HaZohar, with which Yivkun Bei Migalusa Berachamei, there will be coming out from Galus, Berachamim, Bes Hashem, Bimhera Beyameinu, should be Zoichet to Mashiach ben David, Bechesed of Rachamim, and get the Hara from Shimon Bar Yochai, and be Zoichet to be Chayze B'tshuva right before, because it's going to be a tremendous difference for a person that was Chayze B'tshuva to a person that was not thinking. We have to think about it all the time. Yeah, wrote on that next year, B'ez Hashem, this year we do Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur with the Kohanim and Leviim, Kohanim blowing the shofar in the Beis Hamikdash, the Leviim working in the Beis Hamikdash, and the Bnei Yisrael all in the Azar. Mehera b'yameinu, Amen.
Amen. Shkoyach. Very nice.